Right, hello everyone, good evening.
Hi, how's it going?
Hope you guys are all well. Welcome to another lesson today, and we've got lesson 8 coming up. So we've got 8, 9, 10, 3 lessons left, and then hopefully we'll move on to our final semester known as the young group, and then afterwards we'll go into our groups and start working practically. Hope you guys had a great weekend. We certainly did, didn't we?
Oh yeah, it was wonderful.
Did you guys, any of you guys watch the Yeshivat Haverim, the gathering of friends on Sunday evening? Yeah? Oh, okay, great.
All right.
That's good to know. All right, and it was really lovely to see you guys on Saturday. So some of you guys on Saturday, we had an opportunity to meet up on Zoom because you guys had that event in London, I think. Yeah, it was London, right? UK London. Not another city, it was London, yeah. And it was really good to see you guys there. So hopefully the guys in London and you guys will mix and mingle up, and then when we move into working with the groups, it'll be a nice little smooth flow there. Rightio then. Now, as usual, if you guys have any questions regarding the topic that we're going to study, you can just post them through, and Anthony will here help us out, and then we'll answer them as best we can. Now, today we've got a nice topic. Do you guys remember the 4 phases of direct light we did? Yeah? No? Let's just do a little review. Okay, the reason it's important is this. Now, the 4 phases of direct light is a bit of a technical lesson, but when the Creator decided to create creation, everything, he obviously had a plan in mind, right? So when we have a plan in mind, when we want to do something, what we do is we say, okay, in order to get to or get what I want, I need to do 1, 2, 3, 4. So the Creator also had a little plan, and his plan in creating the whole of creation was, believe it or not, was to give all of us happiness. Okay, right now, so in the world we might not see that happening, but the truth of the matter is the Creator, when he created the whole of creation, he really wanted to please the created being. He really wanted to make us all happy, and that still is the plan actually. However, what we need to do is we need to understand where we can be happy. We need to learn how we can be happy. And in order for us to learn how we can be happy, we need to find out what our nature is like. So when the Creator created everything from scratch, he created in 4 phases of direct light. Those are like steps you take if you want to, reach a goal or whatever. Same kind of thing. So I think we went over this before, but let's just have a recap. So the Creator in the beginning of creation, actually, you know what, I'll do this from the left towards the right, this way, okay, because we're left to right in the Western world. So the Creator created a desire to receive, and he filled it up with complete light, right? The 4 phases of direct light. The Creator just created a desire to receive. This is our desire to receive, as always, the same shape, it's just a vessel, and he filled it with light. What does that mean? He filled it with complete joy and happiness and complete serenity, peace, tranquility, call it whatever you like. You're feeling great. And then this desire to receive, okay, this is the desire to receive, as it got fulfilled and came to the final part of fulfillment, it started to feel that someone from the outside was filling it. It's like a baby beginning to feel that his or her mum is feeding him. That's the kind of feeling. So once that desire to receive felt that there is somebody filling it with happiness, it wanted to reciprocate the action and said, listen, I also want to give back as well. However, once it decided to do that, the desire to receive came to a question. It says, well, wait a minute. I've got nothing to give. I'm just a desire to receive pleasure. What am I going to give? I've got nothing in my pockets. Nothing to give. What can I do so that I can give back to this force that's giving to me? And then it came up with an idea. It said, oh, if I'm a desire to receive, and if this force on the outside is a desire to bestow, wanting to bestow to me, why don't I just do the logical thing? I'll just receive, but I'll just receive because he wants to give. Okay, that's all. I don't want to receive because I want to receive, but I'll just receive because he wants to give. Obviously, that's what he wants to do. So why don't we just do that? So he creates the new state, and that state is the state where the vessel, the desire to receive, receives, but only so that the creator can get some fulfillment, because the creator's fulfillment is from giving. And then this desire to receive realizes that there is so much pleasure in receiving and giving, it comes to its final phase of development. The last phase, oh God, my drawing today is awful. Okay, the last phase, it wants to receive everything that the creator wants to give, plus it wants to receive all the attributes of bestowal that the creator has. Wants to, just wants to really take everything. And this is called the fourth phase, the real created being. We call it the fourth phase because this is 0. This is the root phase, root. This is the first phase, the second phase, the third phase, and the fourth phase. And this is why it's called the 4 phases of direct light. And this is how we were initially created, as a desire to receive. Okay? In real terms, the real created being doesn't exist as yet, but the desire to receive does exist. And this is the final phase of the desire to receive. Final phase of the desire to receive. All right? And this is actually Keter. Do you guys know the 10 Sephirot? Yeah? Do you guys know the 10 Sephirot? Anybody doesn't know the 10 Sephirot? If you don't know, say no, and I can just do it. It's not a worry. This is Keter. That's the root phase, the creator. Okay. This is Chochmah. This is Bina. This is Zeir Anpin, sometimes known as Tiferet. And this is Malchut. Now it's 10 Sephirot because Zeir Anpin inside it has also Hesed, Gevurah, Netzach, Hod, and Yesod. Okay, it's got Zeir Anpin has those 6 Sephirot in it. Hesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzach. Hesed, Gevurah. Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. Okay, so it's made of 6 here. There we go. And Malchut is the last one, so it's 10 Sephirot. And this template exists in everything in life. From the smallest atom to the biggest thing you can imagine, everything is this template. It's like how everything is created from scratch, and this is the real situation of its template. And the reason why this is important for us is today we're going to read an article from the Social Writings of Rabash, and it's called The Purpose of Society number 2 on page 11 if you do have this book. Okay, there we go. If you got this book, we're going to read from this. Now you might say, well, Mutlu, why we're going to read a social article? Why are you showing us something a little bit more technical? Well, the reason is this. In order for us to understand why we do the things we do as we study the wisdom of Kabbalah, we have to relate it to something. Okay, because the Kabbalists are telling us, giving us an advice about how to work together inside a group. And there's a reason behind it, because it resembles the actions of the Creator in the spiritual worlds as we apply them in the group. And that is the whole trick. So what we do, although all of this here is a system where it was all created, everything was created, it reflects on how we work in the group. And we're going to touch a topic called nullification. How to nullify our ego. And it is related to this development here. Now, actually, you know what I will do? I will carry on a bit more. And then we'll go on to that. Now, after this fourth phase, the created being Malkut was created, right? Now, when Malkut received everything from the Creator, all the treasures of the king plus the throne, it's like my dad is a king. I just robbed him of all his treasures, plus I took his throne. It's like the Game of Thrones, right? Think of it that way. And I kind of ditched my dad and took everything he had. It's like a bad scenario, okay? However, because we created as a desire to receive, it felt like that's what the Creator wanted, right? He wants to give us everything. However, though, because we took that spontaneously from the Creator without no consideration whatsoever, at the end of that fulfillment, there's a feeling called shame. Okay? Yes, it is like the walk of shame. Okay? So that's the shame we're talking about. The created being feels really bad because it just took everything the king had, his dad had, plus it's like he stabbed him in the back and took his throne as well. So this feeling of shame brings the created being into a dilemma, and then this created being decides to do something called the first restriction. It restricts itself. It says, you know what, I feel really bad because I just took everything, and I don't want to feel this bad ever again. So I'm just going to restrict myself and not receive anything. This is called the first restriction. From there on, this is the same Malkut, okay? From there on, the created being and the Creator in that state are separated. So from this separated state, they must now build a relationship where they see eye to eye. Okay, because the purpose of creation is to be happy and is to receive everything from the Creator. But we have to receive it in such a way that we don't feel lowly. We must receive everything from the Creator in such a way that we don't feel less than the Creator. Otherwise, that's not doing us good. Otherwise, we'll feel like a beggar, or we'll feel like someone who's less than the Creator. And if we're in that state, that's not really nice, because you can never really be in that, how do you call it? You can never be in that connection, you can't be in that equal connection with the Creator if you feel less than the Creator. It's like having a friend who's better than you, and he or she is giving you a lot of things, and you just feel bad about it because you just can't give anything back. It's just, you know what I mean? It's a weird relationship. Well, the Creator doesn't want a weird relationship with us. He wants a relationship where we are absolutely in the same status quo as He is. And we don't feel any less than He is, so we can sit at a table, eat together as equals. And from there on, all the development between the creator and the created being are phases of their connection. The connection and how this connection should be between the creator and, ooh, that wasn't a very good and, was it? And the created being. And that's the whole setup in the spiritual worlds. In a nutshell, because we only have 1 hour, won't be able to, go into a full detail, but we'd never finish it even if we had time, because the whole details of this is about 6 volumes of reading. Okay, so in a nutshell though, the whole idea is we were created from scratch as a desire to receive, and now what we have to do is we have to get to a status, a state where we can actually connect with the creator on equal terms. Because we are not there yet, we don't feel the creator. Why? Because the creator's attitude towards us is bestowal, and our attitude is still reception. And because we are nowhere equal in terms of reciprocating that relationship, we do not feel the creator. He's like out of our senses because we're in our ego. And while we are inside our egoism, it's actually impossible to feel the creator if we are fully inside our egoism, because there's no equivalence of form. It's like my eyes don't see. It's like I'm a blind person and I can't see what's around me because my sensory organs are not functioning. And what's that sensory organ? It's called a soul, which is something we don't have yet, but we're going to build it. Just like we build our lives from scratch, we're going to build it. So let's read a little bit and let's see how practically we can build that inside the environment. So page 11, let's read. Okay. Purpose of Society, number 2, Article 1, Part 2, 1984. If you have any dramas, questions, bring them through.
We've got a few that have come in.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. You write the questions nice and clearly, so we'll just go through them. And, well, you got 2 there? Yep. All right, shoot them before I read, so.
Okay, so in regards to what you were speaking about, the first restriction, Claire says, has that happened to you? The shame, the closing off from wanting to receive?
Not yet. Hopefully it will, though. That's a very high level. Feeling shame, in all the books when they're talking about hell, okay, hell describes that state. It's a description of how a person is really burning inside out because he feels so bad from being opposite to the creator. It's like you have someone who really loves you and cares for you, and you really hate them, and that unjustified hate, that needless, baseless hate, just burns you inside out because you can't help it. It's not intentional, but it's just your nature. And to see that your nature is as that, and you don't want to be in it, but on the other hand you are in it, is the feeling of shame where you just can't tolerate your own self. That intolerance towards your own nature. That's when they're talking about hell and all that. That's the kind of sensation they're talking about. Hell is a very high level in spirituality. In religions, they give us all this stuff about being barbecued on the other side, but nobody's going to be barbecued, so don't worry about that. When it's talking about in this relationship we have with the Creator, how a person feels really awful due to the oppositeness of nature towards the Creator. So those levels are very, very high levels. Hopefully we'll reach them.
Emmanuel says, what's the benefit of attaining spirituality in our corporeal life, since everything is done and limited in the group where everyone understood each other?
Well, that's the whole idea, you see. The whole reason that this world is created is so you can, from this world, build the next world. You see, in religions, we're taught that we're going to go to La La Land after we end up dead. Well, the truth of the story is nobody's going anywhere. At the end of the day, nobody really knows either. Okay? So it's just an assumption. It's just hearsay. The whole idea of this world and its existence is so that you can build a soul from scratch while you're living in this world. Now, if you do that, you can then nullify the shame. How can you nullify the shame? Well, imagine you go to work and you work hard for your boss, and at the end of the month you get your paycheck. Have you got anything to be ashamed of? No, because you worked for it. Right? You got your paycheck because you worked for it, you earned it. That's cool. So nobody feels bad about it. Well, the whole idea with this is the same thing, you see. Man has to create his own soul from scratch here, so he can look at the Creator in the eye and say, oi, I did this with my own effort, thank you very much. So now we can be on equal terms. All right? You don't need to be up on the clouds somewhere, and I don't have to feel like I'm down there low somewhere. We can have a equal, like a really good quality equal relationship. While we're building this, because we don't see the Creator and we don't know what spirituality at all is, we have no idea at all, we have something that's going to help us along the way. And the Kabbalists call that, guess what? A dot in the heart. You guys remember the dot in the heart, right? This is this pinch. Yes, this is the pinch that says, listen, what are you living for? This life's going by just like that. All of a sudden you're 20, all of a sudden you're 40, all of a sudden you're 60. All right? And you look back, you don't even remember what you went through. It's like this video game, all of a sudden game over. All right? And you don't know when it's going to be over too. It's like all dodgy. Okay? So this point in the heart is, for us, kind of like the wake-up call, if you like to call it. It's the wake-up call. Now, if I use this wake-up call properly, I can develop this dot in the heart, because the dot in the heart is the minimal starting point from which I can begin to build a soul. Without the dot in the heart, there's nothing to talk about, because if a person's dot in the heart hasn't really awakened, if he's not really asking why he's living, what's the meaning of life, what am I living for, all right? If he's not really asking, he's really not living, okay? Because just like animals also live like that. Animals don't ask about the meaning of life. They just live. They want to be comfortable. They want to, eat their food. Everything is great, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then, you never worry about tomorrow. And then all of a sudden, tomorrow, bang, you're gone. So the dot in the heart is a wake-up call for a person. And the wake-up call is actually a sign that a person can build a soul while he's living. Otherwise, he would not have that wake-up call. So having this already and asking yourself the meaning of life is already meaning of your life, is already the sign that you can get this done. Otherwise, otherwise there's no point in waking somebody up. We don't give our children something they can't solve. We can't give them something they can't lift. So same here. Once this call happens and a person starts searching about the meaning of life, why am I living? Why am I not happy with my life? It feels like I have everything in life. I don't feel like I lack anything, but I'm just not happy. I'm unfulfilled. What's going on? Okay? That kind of stuff. And once a person comes to the wisdom of Kabbalah, then he has the opportunity, or she has the opportunity, to build a soul with the group. Why with the group? Because when we're in a group, although none of us feel the Creator, all of us have a dot in the heart. And because the dot in the heart is a part of the Creator, which belongs to the attribute of bestowal, we've got a chance. And if we didn't have that, we'd have no chance. Because the dot in the heart, oops, actually, you know what, let me just do this and make it a different color. The dot in the heart is from the Creator. It's apart from Him. And that part is actually striving to get back to its source. The source is the Creator. However, because it's buried inside our will to receive, we've got a huge, big desire to receive, and the dot in the heart is like somewhere at the bottom of the swamp. It needs help to get out of there. And guess where the help comes from? Yes, you guessed it. Help group. Or we can call it the support group. Is there a thing like that? Yeah? Support group. Okay. Support group for building your soul. How's that? Where people with the same inclination, like-minded people, who feel that life doesn't really have anything to offer them, can now fulfill the meaning of their lives. Because this part belongs to the Creator, when we come together in order to get to the Creator, we can feel between us, in this connection between us, as time goes on, as we study Kabbalah and time goes on, as we develop and as we grow up in spirituality, we can begin to feel a bit of a vibe, a bit of a buzz about what the Creator is, who He is, and who we are. And then as we develop, we can really sense the Creator. And that's called revelation. And when that happens, it should be clear to you as night and day. Revelation of the Creator means you see, you hear, you feel with all your senses the Creator. You know, just like you'd feel your husband or wife or anything in life. Just like we feel things in our 5 sensory organs, feeling the Creator is in fact more real than our 5 senses, because our 5 senses are just, very temporary. It's not the real life. The real life is actually felt when we have that connection with the Creator. And so these dots in the heart are very essential, and they are the most critical part of the recipe. No dot in the heart, no real spirituality. Okay, so this is why it's important. All right, so I'm moving on because we've got half an hour left. So let's read and go over this article. It's going to help us to see how we need to work in the group. Since man is created with a kli called self-love, where one does not see that an act will yield self-benefit, one has no motivation to make even the slightest motion. And without annulling self-love, it is impossible to achieve adhesion with the Creator, meaning equivalence of form. And since it is against our nature, we need a society that will form a great force so we can work together on annulling the will to receive called evil, as it hinders the achievement of the goal for which man was created. For this reason, society must consist of individuals who unanimously agree that they must achieve it. Then all the individuals become one great force that can fight against itself, since everyone is integrated in everyone else. Thus each person is founded on a great desire to achieve the goal. This is exactly how we attain things in this world as well. It's no different. Rabash is writing it very nicely. He's saying we have a goal. Okay, we'd like to attain something. And this something, according to our desire, the dot in the heart, is the meaning of life. And he says the meaning of life is to reach the level of the Creator, to be like Him. Okay, great. How are we going to do that? Well, just like what we do in this world, we need to put a team together if we wanted to put a project, right? Anybody does projects? So what do you have? Yeah, you got a project team, right? You need other people to start doing. You can't do everything on your own. So Rabbi says, well, listen, the only way to get this done is if I have friends who have the same sympathy towards my goal. Sympathy means wanting the same thing as I want. Because then if we all want the same thing, we can all work towards getting it together. Now the reason it's difficult for a person to do it on his or her own is simple. For one thing, on our own, we can't really even discover what our nature is. Imagine you're sitting somewhere on the mountaintop. You don't have any connection with any people. If you don't have any connection with any people, you can't really have any emotions, any personalities, any traits, anything that really belongs to your personality come out in any way. When does all the bad stuff come out? When I have connection with people. Because I have a fight with them, I have an argument with them, I don't agree with them, I disagree with them, I dislike them. All these sensations, feelings, whatever, or I might love them. I might think they're great as well. It's not all bad, okay? It's good and bad, right? So all the things that inside of us come out, they only come out because we have relationships with people. Otherwise, we'd never have anything come out. Otherwise, I'd be on the mountaintop thinking, wow, I'm just so relaxed and spiritual and this feels great. But I wouldn't discover myself at all. So Rabash is saying, listen, we need to reach the level of the Creator, and we need to work towards annulling this self-love, this evil that's called self-love. But we don't really feel evil, do we? Does anybody feel that they're evil? You look so nice from the screen, you know, all you look so cute and nice on the screen. I don't think you guys feel evil at all. I think you guys are probably thinking, you know, I'm not such a bad personality. I'm all right, you know, I don't harm people. It's not like I'm, you know, Jack the Ripper or anything. I just go to work, I come home, I'm relaxed, you know. I don't rob banks and kill people, I don't blow anyone up. I'm a nice guy or a nice girl. Okay, that's the kind of sensation feeling we have when we come to the group. We don't really feel like we're evil. Okay, it's not out yet. But Rabash is smart. Why? Because he knows what's going to come out when we start working together. So he says, listen, when we work together, this is going to come out, so we need to learn how to nullify it. Okay? So that's the whole trick. And the reason we must do it is because it hinders the achievement of the goal for which we were created. So he's saying we must come to reveal the truth, because this is the wisdom of truth. So we should come to reveal our true nature. And there's nothing to feel bad about it. Okay, we all love each other because we're all bad as each other, and that's good. So everybody sees the bad in them. Okay, so we don't really need to, you know, dislike anyone, because we understand that as we study, all the bad is in me, and since everybody's feeling bad, we're all bad. Okay,
so we're in good company then.
We're in great company. Okay, It needs to happen this way because we discover the truth about ourselves. When you discover the truth about yourself, even if it's bad, it's a great thing. Why? Because you know what to fix now. Before, it was there and you didn't even know what to do about it because you didn't even think it was there. It's like having a cancer cell in your body, God forbid, and you never knew it's there. And all of a sudden it's too late. But if you see it and you know it's there, then you got something to do about it. Okay? So seeing the evil is a good thing. Okay? You should remember that always, because then you know what to do with it. To be integrated in one another, each person should annul himself before the others. This is done by each seeing the friend's merits and not their faults. But one who thinks that he's a little higher than his friends can no longer unite with them. So annulling ourselves means something very simple. I just see the good in everyone. Okay, sounds like one of those self-development courses. All right, just see the good in everything. Okay, well, this is how I should be looking at the friends. So I should always see their good sides. He's going to tell us afterwards why. Okay, because if I see myself a little higher than them, I can never really be connecting with them. I can never connect with them. I can never be friends with them. Friends means we're on equal terms. And if I feel myself above them, I can't connect with them. Same for them. It's true for everyone. Also, it is important to remain serious during the assembly. Okay, we can skip that paragraph. Okay, so let's carry on a bit more down the line. Hence, it is good that there will be equality among the friends who unite. So one can be annulled before the other, and there should be careful watch in the society, disallowing frivolity, since frivolity ruins everything. Okay, so basically, there's only one thing we need to learn from this, right? That we need to annul our self-love. We need to annul our superiority complex, okay? Because everybody's got that. So one way or another, everybody thinks they're better than somebody else in something. So we need to pacify that. And whatever happens, we want to try and see the good side of the friend. As if we see the good side of the friend, we can appreciate them. Now, how people come to study Kabbalah is really interesting. Because did any of you guys know each other before you came? No? Yes? No? Does anybody have a friend here?
Looks like a bunch of no's there.
Okay, so we're all a bunch of losers. Okay, we understand that. We've got no friends and we ended up here. This is exactly how it's meant to be. Okay, because this is how it's exactly meant to be, because this is how you can from scratch create a great connection with people who had no connection at all. Because if we had some connection from before, you can't really start from scratch. You got some sympathies, your friend or whatever. But because none of us have any friends in life, now that we have many for the first time, okay, we can now start building this friendship. This is why Kabbalah is so really interesting. You meet the people for the first time ever, and you make great friends out of them when you apply this method, and it's just unreal. It really is. So in order for us to become friends, though, we have to start seeing the good side of the friends, not their bad sides. So in my eyes, I can value them. I can get to know them. I can get to appreciate them. I can start to build a connection with them. Okay? Are we all good with that? Simple. Simple. I look at them and I say, oh my God, they've got such a nice smile. They're all over the world. I've got friends from all around the world. They all look so cool. They've got nice smiles. They're all looking great. And we all have the same goal. Even to be together here tonight, all of us, is something for us to appreciate. Seriously, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Otherwise, listen, if we didn't get together, we'd be all what we're going to do tonight at home. Watch the telly? No way. What's on the telly? Come on. It's like a waste of life. Okay, so at least we've got something to do together with friends who have a common interest about the meaning of life. Because you talk about the meaning of life with your friends on the outside world, they think you've gone nuts. The average person thinks 3 times a year. Did you know that? Stats. 3 times a year he thinks. It makes you wonder what's the difference between, I don't know, a cat and a man. It's just like weird, right? So this kind of thought process that we're in when we're thinking about life, the meaning of life, is actually a huge leap if you compare it to the people who live a normal, regular life with just the flows of life. And, that's it. And then they just live life out. It's already a big quantum leap. So nullifying ourselves in the group is not a big deal. It's quite easy. I try to pacify my self-love, my self-greatness, and I try to see the good side in others. That's the first step we need to do. No, just see the good side of the friends. That's it. In the perception of reality in the first semester, we learned that everything I see is in my head. If I see something the opposite, if I see something bad in a friend, then I need to look at that trait as being in me. That's a trait in me that I need to fix. And I should be grateful that the friend showed that to me. And I should value the friend for showing me that, even though I see the friend as bad through that trait. Does that make sense? Okay. And this is how you come to reveal the evil inside. This is why the friends are so valuable, because if we didn't have them, we'd never reveal what we need to fix inside of us. We'd never know about it. So all the good things I see in the friend is great and we appreciate it. But if my eyes should see something negative or bad about a friend, I should internalize it and I should say, oh my God, that must be in me. I've got that trait in me somewhere because I just realized it. I just saw it. And that's something I should fix. What does that give me? It gives me a heads up. It gives me a heads up because if I realize it, it's already corrected. I fix it. Just realizing it is already fixing it. If I don't realize it, I still have to fix it somehow. How's that going to come out? It's going to have to come out into the physicality with me doing that action and probably embarrassing myself. And that's the difference between conscious and unconscious living. Are you guys with me? Yeah? Does that make sense? Because if I see the negative of a friend and I realize it, and then I say, oh my God, that must be in me, I take care of noticing it and I won't do it. It won't eventuate into physical reality. I can stop myself thus henceforth from doing something bad because I've already internalized it. I understand it and I put it aside and I'm already aware of it. in life, a lot of people who complain about others and the attitude of others don't realize that that bad attitude is in them. So let me give you guys want a tip about life. Might help you tomorrow when you go to work. If one of your friends comes to you and says, God, I hate that person, he's such a liar. Realize that the person who said that has got that lying trait in them. So be careful. Okay? So if somebody says to somebody else, oh my God, that's a thief, I wouldn't leave my wallet around that person. Okay? Because people see the world as they are. That's perception of reality. Everybody sees the world according to their own traits, according to their own character, personality. So that's a tip of the day for tomorrow when you go to work. Any questions there?
Oh, yes. So Gary just wrote in. Gary says, does the person make the correction on a trait or does the creator?
Everything is done by the creator, but I've used my freedom of choice by entering myself into a group where I have decided that I'd like to go forward in correcting my nature so that I can equalize with the creator. At the end of the day, the creator created us. He does everything. He actually did everything already. We just have to come to the consciousness of what he's already done. That's why it's like we're building it from bottom up.
Varga from Romania says, what is the role of ego in the development of the will to bestow?
The role of the ego is how the ego is the evil in us, right? The ego, actually, what is the ego? Let's say ego. Ego is a person's self-value and appreciation. Okay, if you go with the Oxford English Dictionary, okay, if anybody got it, check it out. Okay, it's a good definition there. Okay, a person's self-value for himself, an exaggerated self-value for himself. But you see, there's a problem with having self-value, because if you have self-value, you're going to have to, depreciate it from somebody else's value. Okay, because if I'm giving myself self-value, it means I'm going to have to take it from somebody else's self-value, and that's what ego is. See, I think I'm better than somebody else. So I feel that that gives me the right to abuse, use everybody else. And that's the bad thing about the ego. We use other people and we're not even aware of it. We're just not even aware of it. And because we're not aware of it, we don't feel like we cause anyone any harm. So what we come to in our study, in our work together, is the realization of understanding our true nature. And even though in our corporeal sensory, life, it might feel a little awkward or weird or bad even, we don't really deal with how it feels, because seeing the truth should actually make us happy. And the role of the ego here is, the more we reveal it, the more we can actually build love against it. So the ego, on the one hand, if it's left on its own, becomes a very harmful, attribute. But on the other hand, if you're studying Kabbalah, with all the negative that's revealed, you have an opportunity to build the positive side of it. And that's how you can actually build yourself. In life, it's also that way. In life, for us to walk, we need to fall first, right? We're crawling first, then we're trying to walk. As we try to walk, we're falling down. You know, it's just like life. Same thing.
Now, Claire is asking, this is a really good one. What if someone has an inferiority complex? Do you still try to know yourself?
We all have some kind of, one way or another, we're all complicated. Okay, so we all have complexities, but it's not a problem. If I keep my goal in my mind, everything that will reveal on the path, I can use as a leverage to go forward. Because that's how it's supposed to work. If I want to, let's say, build a business, I understand I'm going to have to do a lot of stuff. I understand I'm going to have problems. I understand I'm going to have to fix problems. And I understand I have to go around all kinds of things to get the things I want and I need in order to build that business. And it's going to be, it's not going to be easy. Nobody builds a business easy. It's not easy. Why are the ones who build it successful? Because they don't give up. From the beginning, they know they're going to have dramas. But because the goal is so important and is so great in their eyes, they don't care about the problem. That's what makes them successful. Because for them, it's not a problem. For them, it's just something they're going to fix to get closer to the goal.
No.
That's the attitude. Just a second. That's the attitude of successful people. They don't look at issues as a problem. They look at it as getting to their goal one step closer. If you do that psychological change, whether somebody has an inferiority complex or a superiority complex, whatever complexities they have, whatever comes out, it doesn't matter. You just see it as a problem to fix and move forward. And we should all be glad when bad things inside of us come out. That's definitely a sign of moving forward. So don't feel bad when bad traits in you appear. A lot of people fall off the bandwagon despite the fact that I say it about 1,000 times in the education center lessons. Because they just, we have this thing that spirituality needs to feel great. It's like I should be on a joint or something when I'm studying spirituality, somewhere out there in the clouds. But spirituality is actually coming to see the truth. So as we move forward, seeing everything is a great sign of advancing forward, moving forward. If I was always in this nirvana state, can't feel anything, it's like being dead. The more the emotions we go through, the more these ups and downs we're going through, the more juicy our work is. Yes, mate.
Now, Claire is also asking, frivolity. Why is frivolity bad?
Because you reduce the importance of the goal, and if something isn't important for you, you won't go for it.
Okay. And can we still see the bad in people that are outside of the group?
I wouldn't go there. You will, obviously. Okay. But if you look at 8 billion people and you look at all the things you don't like about them and you start to internalize that, you'll just go crazy. Okay, so let's just stick it nice and light inside this lab. Okay, the group is like a lab. Okay, so we're playing around with a bit of chemistry. We don't want to blow ourselves up. Okay, so it's all inside the group, nice and cozy. The reason we don't want to do this on the outside is because here we understand why we're doing this work. So everybody mutually knows what we're doing and why we're doing it for. So on the outside, if you start nullifying yourself, they'll start to use you. They're already inclined to use and abuse you, and you're giving them extra reason to use and abuse you by nullifying yourself to them. So don't do that. Spiritual work is only in the group, only together. because we're like-minded people. We understand that we need to behave in a certain way to come to a certain result, and we all understand that. Okay, this is why spiritual work, we don't do that. Just don't do it outside. Don't tell people you even study Kabbalah on the outside.
Okay, now Gary wrote in. Gary says, we have our bodily senses in this world, enabling us to navigate reality. Do we require another sensory organ to perceive the spiritual world?
That's right, we will. That's the whole idea. That's what we're going to build.
And Jose wrote in, how you see the best of everyone? How do you see the best of everyone?
How do you see the best of everyone? Well, you look at your friends for a start. You see they've got such nice smiles on their faces. Yes, smile a little bit, everyone. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, there you go. See, people are smiling. And all of a sudden, oh, they got nice smiles. They look like a nice bunch. I think we can get spiritual with them.
They're getting real happy now. They're laughing.
Okay, exactly.
All right, yeah.
There you go. It'll take. It's not hard. I'll tell you why it's not hard. We haven't yet spent time with each other. Once we get into the groups, you will, and then it'll really get juicy. You'll begin to see how much friends are making effort to move forward in spirituality. You'll begin to see, despite everything in their life, they're trying to also improve their spiritual growth. They're trying to help you do it as well. You begin to appreciate that, It's like a married couple, when you're married for a long time and you stick together, you stick it out, despite all the problems of life, you stick it out together, and then as you get old, you sit down and you think, I think I love you. Why? Because we've been through so much dramas together, all right? You just built this love towards that person. All your friends, when the going gets rough, can disappear. But if you got a good spouse, they don't disappear. All right? And then at the end of the day, you can say, wow, that's love. So in the group, it's like that too. We start this journey together, and then we connect and we try together. We fall, we get up, we try again, we want to do it, we try, all of a sudden, you begin to sympathize with these people. You begin to understand that they're giving so much from themselves, and you begin to value that. It builds patience in you. It builds compassion. It builds things in you that before you thought you had, and you begin to see as you advance that you didn't have it before at all, and now you built it because you've been through so much with these people. Our journey is very emotional, and in our day-to-day lives we lack a lot of emotion. Our life is so dry. Everybody's like in front of their mobiles. You guys like that as well on the bus? Yeah, doing this move. Yeah, on the bus now. Isn't it exciting? Right? Because we don't have any connection with anyone. It's like, it's weird. It's like we're not living at all. But this way you begin to, you begin to connect with people. You start to feel that there's this thing inside of us called a human connection. And you begin to appreciate that, actually. You begin to appreciate that there's this special connection between us, and you begin to feel it. And that's the thing that we begin to appreciate. And then it becomes something beyond us altogether. It becomes beyond the person. Then we begin to realize that, wait a minute, there's something greater here than all this. And that greatness is through the sensations that we go through when we're together. And that's valuable. You won't feel it anywhere else in life. That's called the Creator, by the way.
Now, Michael had a question, and he said, I always understood that the 10 Sephirot are central to Kabbalah. Until now, we have only touched on these, as we did earlier tonight. Will we get into these more? And are they central to understanding the studying of Kabbalah?
we will get into these, of course. You know, if you come to the morning lessons, in the morning lessons we sometimes study the study of the Ten Sephirot. So yeah, we'll get into those because they're the whole structure of reality. So we want to study them, and we do during the morning lessons. The reason we don't do a lot at the education center is, well, first we want to get our foundations right. So it's like when we're in primary school, you know, they can't just open up a quantum physics book and say, hey, listen, you can be in 10 places at the same time and it's all in your mind. The kid will just say, what are you talking about? I'm here and I'm in one place. Okay? So until the kid starts to understand all the details of that, we need to get the foundations right. So a little bit of everything here, and we'll make our little cake, and then afterwards we can actually eat it.
Now, last question is from Claire, and it says, if I don't recognize extreme negative behavior in myself, and I see myself as perfect, I think you said that means I'm still in my ego. But then, if everything I get upset about in others is actually existing in me, then does that mean other people's ego exists but should not be my concern?
What you should do, remember, if you recall the perception of reality, it's a good question. Remember, we've got 5 senses. Okay? This is how we see reality. Everything, you know, people, trees, I don't know, houses, whatever you have in reality, animals. Okay? Everything. It's all inside our head. What happens is, as we study Kabbalah, what we want to do, okay, we want to start getting used to observing what's going on and not being too drained in it. Kind of like from the outside, you know? Like I might be going through all kinds of feelings and sensations, and it's like looking at myself from the outside and just observing what's going on in me. Because at the end of the day, right, all the feelings that you feel inside is already logically you, right? Because you're not feeling them somewhere else. Whatever happens in life, you feel it in you. So it's already the Claire that you're living. Now think of it as Claire, as you're Claire living it, but you're observing it from the outside, free from the feelings. Like a rational psychological observer from the outside. And you're looking at the things you're going through. At the end of the day, the good and the bad, it's all inside of us. Okay? What we need to worry about is when they pop up, just be aware of it, that we understand they're there. It's not a problem because we didn't create ourselves. It's not our fault. A lot of people, feel bad and they go, but it's not your fault. We didn't create ourselves. If this is the way we're created, it's the Creator's fault. Okay, so you can always toss the blame. He doesn't mind. He's a very nice, patient guy. So if you feel there's something bad, and you say, listen, dude, you made me, you fix it. Okay, I saw it, thank you. Yeah, deal with it, And that's the beauty about this thing. You can always throw it back at the Creator. Oh.
One last one. Carmen says, is the group is more than the sum of its individuals?
The group is always the individuals together, but we need to, when we have it's when it's with the Creator together. A real group is when we're included, we feel that this connection that we have with the Creator, that's the important thing. This yellow, this is why I drew it in yellow. Spirituality is not something inside of me or you. It is between us. It's like that love feeling I gave it as an example. Love is not inside the man and it's not inside the woman. When they're together, that sensation between them, what they feel between them is called love, right? So that sensation, as we advance in spirituality, the attribute that there is love and bestowal between us is the creator. And then once we attain that, we'll learn how to flow in that attribute instead of egoism. And that's attainment of the attribute of the creator. Does that make sense? Yeah, this is why we need other people. Because all the feelings are between people. This is why somebody if somebody says to somebody else without any connection with them, I love you, does that make any sense? It just doesn't make any sense. Some people say, I love everybody. Man, if you just met some of us, you'd change your mind. Okay?
Depends on what day of the week.
Exactly. It's just being very childish. Okay? So sometimes they go, I love everybody. I mean, where were you born? Where were you when God invented the brain? All right, people, we're going to love you and leave you. All right, next Tuesday, we'll carry on, hopefully. It's our 8th lesson, so we've got 2 lessons left, and then we're going to have the young group lessons. I'm all excited because we're going to learn how to do workshops together. Finally, we'll do some practical work. Instead of you listening to me, I will be listening to you. That'd be great. And I hope you guys have a good sense of humor. All right?
Make us laugh.
Have a great evening. Have a great week. All the best.
Bye-bye.